Hey guys, it's Irene here, and today we're going to be talking about creating your own little home studio. As much as I love taking pictures outdoors, I can't really do it in winter time. I live in Canada and it gets really cold here, sometimes even up to -40. And you would think that the winter pictures would be really cute and with all the snowflakes coming down, will create like a winter fairy tale. But not really. Reality is that everyone gets really cold, too cold to function. My fingers get really red and they just kind of freeze up. The models usually get their noses red, their faces red, the runny nose, and it's just not a pretty picture. So in the winter time, I kind of have to shoot indoors. I don't really like studios. I think just the white wall or the black wall is not very interesting, so I was trying to find for something a little bit more creative. And I remembered that I really enjoy Emily Soto's pictures. I think if you guys are into photography, you know who Emily Soto is, and she always uses these backdrops in her pictures. They're kind of a tie-dye, faded material, and they create a really cool depth in your pictures. I really wanted to do something like that, but I didn't want to spend a lot of money on a backdrop. So that's why I created my own backdrop using just a roll of paper that I had. I bought this roll of paper a while ago when I was into fashion photography and I needed a white backdrop. I haven't used it since, so I cut a little piece of it and my sister helped me to paint it to create that really cool, awesome backdrop. I've used it in 3 photo shoots so far and it looks amazing. I also have a DIY tutorial on that backdrop and I will link it down below so you guys can check it out. I also decided that I still would like to continue using natural light, so I just used the room with the biggest window I have in my apartment, and it's just my living room. And at first I thought that I'm not gonna have enough space, but with simply just moving everything to one side, which doesn't take much time and it's very quick to put everything back, I was able to get enough space to shoot and to put my backdrop in. And that's kind of what I wanted to talk to you guys about, is that you don't need an actual studio space to shoot your pictures and to make them look like they were shot in the studio. A lot of my boudoir work is also just shot in my bedroom with natural light coming from the window, and they look amazing. You don't need an actual little studio where you would put the bed and all of the props. As long as you know what you're doing, as long as you're a good photographer, you'll be able to get a picture in literally almost any space available. So let's just break it down to a few things that you're gonna need if you want to create your own little home studio. I would definitely recommend getting a backdrop stand, and they're fairly cheap. I think I bought mine for around $100 at a local store. I will put the link down for the stand that I have, again, in the description. All the links will be there. And it just consists of 2 tripods and a pole that goes at the top where you can put your backdrop. And if I'm using a fabric that it's not an actual backdrop, I just tape it to the very top with some Scotch tape. I know it's kind of ratchet, but I'm a cheap photographer, so that's what I use. You're also gonna need a backdrop, and as I said, you can DIY one yourself. You can buy it online. They're generally not too expensive, but I just like to make them myself just to create my own color palette that I like. Also, you can go to just a fabric land and find a fabric that you particularly like, cut it to the size that you want it to be, and use it as a backdrop. So what I've done before is whenever I go to the thrift shop, I like to check out their fabric section. Like, let's say Value Village, they always have little section with like sheets and just pieces of fabric. And I found pretty decent fabric there. And actually I found one that looks exactly like tie-dye. It's already like done and it was only $5. So you can definitely find a backdrop, and it doesn't matter on how big your budget is. So you can even find a piece of fabric that's $5, or you can buy a really expensive backdrop that is like $600, or you can DIY one yourself and make it beautiful and awesome for really cheap. Now next, you're gonna need some source of light. And I'm pretty fortunate that I have this big window here that provides really nice light during the day. But what if I have a photo shoot during evening? Then you'll definitely need some kind of source of light. My favorite light, and I think I've mentioned it a ton, is continuous light. There's few different things that you can do. You can, again, either buy it or make it yourself. I personally just chose to buy it because they're generally not too expensive. The one that I have was $150, and I needed to get a tripod for it, which is generally like $20, $30 to $50. So it's not too bad, and it provides amazing, beautiful light. It creates a very, very similar light to natural light, and I just love using it. Also, you have an option to DIY your own light for yourself, and you can literally use any sorts of light. It can be a lamp, it can be Christmas lights, it can be even a flashlight. Literally any light will work as long as you figure out how to use it in your shot. So go ahead and experiment with all of these light sources, and I'm sure you're gonna be able to come up with something really creative. Now, something that I've struggled the most is amount of space. If you're shooting in the studio, you will have enough space to probably back up and use whatever lens you would like, but when you're shooting in your home, you know, depending on how big your room is, you probably won't have as much space. And here, all I can say is, again, be creative with what you're doing. This room is actually pretty small. It's not too big. But what I do is I put my backdrop all the way down in the kitchen, and then whenever I take pictures, I stand all the way by the window, and I'm able to still use my 85mm lens and take almost a full body shot, well, at least of the girl sitting on the chair. And then if I want the full body, I will use then a wider lens, something like a 35 or a 50mm lens. But before I moved here into this apartment, I lived with my parents, and my room was really, really tiny. And I was still able to utilize that space and use it. And what I would mainly do is I would expand my pictures. I have quite a few tutorials on expansions, and again, I will leave them in the description down below. But pretty much all you do is that you take pictures around your object and of your object, and then in Photoshop, you would just kind of puzzle all of those pictures together. So you still will be able to get a full body shot, just it will be just more work. So I think that's pretty much it. The main theme of this video is that no matter how small your apartment or your room is, you can make it work. With just a little bit of creativity and thought, you will make it work. Trust me, I've tried it all, and I've made pretty much every single space work for me. Just don't find excuses to not do it, and just go ahead and do it. I hope this video helped some of you guys, and don't forget to like it if you did. Don't forget to subscribe to not miss my new videos, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!